A very good evening to you all. I am Debasmita Tripathi, Assistant Professor, Department of Zoology, Netaji Nagar College for Women. And I would like to welcome you all to this webinar on stress and anxiety management, organized by Department of Zoology and Department of Environmental Science, Netaji Nagar College for Women. Are you all able to hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good.
Yes, ma'am.
So, for the past year and a half, we have all been dealing with this pandemic. And we all know how difficult it has been. The very fact that we are all present here today in this meeting shows that we have been dealing with it well, and we have the zeal to combat it and to eradicate it from the globe. So, for those who have had the disease, they already know how traumatic it has been physically and mentally. And those who haven't, they have been through the mental trauma definitely. The fear of losing your loved ones, the fear of contracting the disease, the fear of staying away from your friends and relatives and not being able to meet them, and all this fear manifests itself in various forms like anxiety, stress, depression, etc. I'm not an expert, but we have with us an expert today who is going to talk about this, and I'm sure you're all eager to listen to her, so I won't delay much. And before I invite our speaker, I would like to request Dr. Momit Roy Goswami, head of the Department of Environmental Sciences, Netaji Nagar College for Women, to kindly give the welcome address.
Thank you. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Tripathi. A very good evening to you all. On behalf of Department of Zoology and Department of Environmental Science of the college, I cordially welcome all of you to this webinar entitled Stress and Anxiety Management. I cordially welcome our honorable speaker, Madam Smaranika Tripathi, rehabilitation psychologist attached to Bellevue Hospital and Columbia Asia Hospital, Kolkata, and convey my heartfelt gratitude to her for accepting the invitation. I also convey my heartfelt gratitude to our administrator, sir, Professor Dr. Tushar Kanti Ghora, for his constant support, encouragement, and cooperation in organizing this webinar. I convey my heartfelt gratitude to our principal, sir, Dr. Tapan Kumar Ghosh. The topic of the webinar today is of immense social relevance, particularly in this situation, in the current scenario of this COVID-19 pandemic, as we are all going through a phase of anxiety and stress in our mind. But humanity have never lost to hostility of any situation and have obviously tried their best to combat the situation. And I sincerely believe the deliberation that will be made by our honorable speaker today will help us to combat anxiety and stress, because she has got immense experience in this field and all of us will be benefited from that. I would like to point out that last year also, both of the departments have organized a program on positive mental health for the students, particularly for the students. And in continuation to that, we are also organizing this webinar today in this year. With this, I would like to welcome you all again, all our honorable speaker, all teaching and non-teaching staff, and of course, our beloved students for this webinar. Thank you. Over to Dr. Tripathi.
So very good evening to all the faculty members and the people who have joined this webinar today. And so I think, am I allowed to talk now? Shall we start the session?
Hello. Am I audible now?
Yes.
Yeah. Ma'am, I request you to kindly wait for 5 minutes. I have to give your introduction formally before you begin. But before that, we have two other speakers to say a few words. So I would request them and then I'll ask you to start, if it's okay.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So I would request our administrator, sir, if he's there, to kindly say a few words before we start the webinar. Is he available, sir? I don't think he has. I don't think he has joined. Okay, then I'll request our TCS ma'am, Shushmita Roy ma'am, to kindly say a few words before we start the webinar. Shushmita Di? Yeah. Okay, she's here with us.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. On behalf of Netanyahu College for Women, I would like to welcome you all, and I would like to congratulate both the department, Zoology and EVS, for organizing such an exciting. I think it's exciting because I love this stress management topic. So I would like to congratulate both the department, and I would like to wish all the success for this program. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your kind words. And now, before I ask our speaker to take up the dais, I would like to, and it's my pleasure and honor to share with you a few words regarding our speaker. Well, she, as Dr. Roy Goswami already mentioned, she is a rehabilitation psychologist at the Bellevue Clinic and Columbia Asia Hospital. She has an experience of 14 years working with people and helping them to handle mental disorders like depression, anxiety, etc. And she's also an active member, and she actively participates in programs organized by colleges and corporate organizations where she teaches people to maintain a work-life balance. And if you have watched TV shows regarding mental health, I'm sure you must have seen her in those shows as well. And she has already briefed me that she wants the session to be very interactive. So I request you all, please have a pen and paper with you, because she is going to give us tasks all along, or I don't know, after the webinar, as she prefers. And then she has been briefed with the questions that our faculty and students have put forth, and she'll be addressing these questions during the course of her talk. So without further delay, I request Ma'am Smaranika Tripathi to kindly take up the dais virtually and start the webinar. Thank you.
I think Madam is not audible.
Oh, I'm so sorry. So am I audible now?
Yes.
Yes, now you are.
All right. So without wasting any time, let us focus on what we are going to discuss today. I think I would like to begin with a small story. Let us all imagine, I think we have all some 55, 56 participants in this webinar today. And if I just ask you to board a bus, and then, I would tell you that we are going somewhere. After a long 1 hour of travel, 2 hours of travel, my bus won't stop. And it will keep on going. What kind of a thought will come to your mind? What you will usually think? So I'm sure probably 85% of the population will think that where we are going, why are we going, when this bus is going to stop, why is my passenger not talking anything? Is it all right to be in this bus? I really hope there is nothing danger ahead of us. So many questions pouring together may create discomfort in our mind. That discomfort, that questioning, that conflict which we go through in this journey simply means we are in stress. And the response, like the thoughts which we feel, or the behavior which we feel or project, is a part of our anxiety. So very simply, I can say that stress and anxiety are definitely a typical part of our life, which we go through every day. Then you may also think that why don't we feel it? Why? Because there are two phases of stress and anxiety which we all go through. One is which is manageable. Like for an example, when I was told that I was supposed to join this meeting through Google Meet, and I'm not very acquainted with that, and I thought I'll manage it. So it is something which is a manageable part of my stress. I'm sure if people would have asked me to speak in Telugu or some foreign language, that would have given me some kind of a stress which I would not be able to manage. So if you consider stress goes through many phases in life. If you consider anxiety is an ongoing process. It never ends. So if you think that anxiety is going to end one day, and I'm going to give you some medicines or some kind of strategies through which your stress and anxiety will go forever, that's not going to happen. Because what happens in the human body and human environment is that it is always a reciprocal process where you live in the environment and the environment makes you live as well. So that is the difference. And with this interaction or with this day-to-day activity, we go through stress, we come across a lot of anxiety. Some of them are answered, some of them are managed, and very few of them remain unmanaged, unanswered, which becomes the non-manageable stress in our life. So coming to this scenario where we are today, I'm sure all of us have questions, right? I'm sure it is quite awkward for all of us to know that, somebody is speaking who's an unknown person to us, and there is no one in front of us. I mean, there is a screen. I can only see a few pictures, and there is a voice which is coming up. Definitely, it's a human voice. There's a human figure. However, I'm not able to touch her, be with her. There is no physical contact. So a lot of things coming together. All this taken together has created stress, and I would say that it has probably increased the level of stress which we had earlier and now. So the major being the pandemic. If it is possible to share the slides on the screen I have already shared, that would be better. We can go to the first slide and then I'll take it further.
I request Devoshmita Roy ma'am to kindly share the slides. Okay, yep.
Is it visible properly?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Can we go to a full screen mode, ma'am, if it is possible? Perfectly all right. So the screen says that, the experience you are going through, the feelings you are going through, you're not alone. So I think that is the best part of this pandemic. What we are experiencing at this point of time is quite generic. We all are experiencing the same. The versions may differ from person to person, but if definitely we all are going through the same kind of a feeling, same kind of anxiety. So when it comes to saying that you have stress and I do not have stress, or maybe only people who visit a psychologist in the hospitals have anxiety and stress issues, are not true. If you have cognitive abilities where you can think, you can decide, you can converse, you can, make your own plans, you are having a mental health. So everybody, all taken together, has something or the other which can be bothering, and there would be something which we manage well. Given a chance, if I'll ask each one of the participants here, how would you want to name the particular situation we are going through? I think we will come across a lot of words which are basically difficult to manage. Number one being, it's a very ambiguous situation. We are going through a lot of conflict. We don't know the future. There is insecurity. There is anger. There is a lot of repentance. There's a lot of thinking. And overall, what we see is that we do not have peace. We probably are going through a very difficult nightmares. We are going through relationship issues. We are unable to concentrate. We have, every time there is a feeling of worry, we are hooked up somewhere or the other. Why it is happening and what could be the reason? As we make progress, it is very important to think, and if it is very important to understand that stress or anxiety has two different phases. Number one being that you must understand and identify what you are going through. Number two, or the last or the final phase comes in where you would take actions to prevent, minimize, and manage it. That is very important. So before we go to the minimization or managing part of it, we need to know what we are going through. What kind of a feeling is this? So why I asked that, we need to have a pen and paper handy is because each one of you need to do a homework after this presentation, maybe what kind of feeling it is. In a very psychological, traditional manner, it is said that if you can reciprocate, if you can pronounce the feeling you are going through, it becomes easier for you to manage it. Because if you really see, most of us probably do not know what we are going through. When you talk about stress, when we talk about anxiety, we don't know from where the stress is coming. What is triggering the feeling? What are the fears what I'm going through? What am I doubting? What am I not ready to face? These what, when, how factors are very important factors in our life. So whenever we talk about stress, it has to be the antecedent, or it has to be the why factors, my feelings, my thought process, my actions, which is preceding to my behavior and affecting my daily lifestyle. And second is definitely how I am going to manage. Now, I think all of you need to probably answer this particular question. If there is something difficult which comes your way, you all are working, all are doing some kind of a project or something which is new to you, how do we usually manage? On the first instance, everything comes as a foreign material. You don't know how to deal with it. Second, what we usually do is we take references. We try to understand. For an example, if this particular slide is something is written in a different language, we would first need to have a look at it. Unless until you look at it, unless until you focus on it, it's very difficult to manage it, right? So first thing you would do is to focus, understand, have a look, and think whether you know or not know it. So the first is paying attention to what you go through. Second is identifying the possible, patterns, whether it is English, it is Hindi, or it is Bengali, it is Telugu or Russian, German, what language is that? Number 3 is giving meaning. Do I understand or I do not understand? If I understand, then what it is written. If I do not understand, how do I get help to understand what is written on it? Number 4 is once you understand, either you implement, you practice, and you start benefiting out of it. Number 5 is a final call, when you already are aware that there are 4 different phases which is important to manage your stress or manage something which is unknown to us. Likewise, at present, the way we are going through or the situation we are going through now is something which is unknown to us. And I think very importantly, it is unknown to many of us. We only are going through certain theories, many difficult activities and many difficult experiences, which has made us feel more vulnerable, made us feel more stressful about the whole situation. So if you put it across and if you imply it in a right manner, you would understand that probably understanding the whole situation is very, very important. For an example, if I have to talk about understanding what the present scenario is likely to be, I think I would suggest that, in a very simpler manner, not every cough and cold is COVID. Not every fever is COVID. Not every oximeter will give you the right reading for your oxygen saturation. But unfortunately, we go through this, we get influenced by the environment, we get influenced by the people who are around us, and then we start projecting, start reacting, and start behaving likewise. Can we go to the next slide, please? Yeah, thank you so much. The grief cycle. Why I said it is a grief cycle? Because, very recently I was going through an article and where I read that, this is something which probably we don't talk, but we definitely are going through a grief cycle, which is making us feel like this. First concept of grief is anticipatory grief. What is that? What might happen? When will this, end? What is the worst scenario? What can be the worst scenario? Is this the end at all? All this can make you more restless, more vulnerable, and more difficult for you to cope up. Denial. Every day we go through this. If you have little bit of difficulty, you are in a stage when we say that, no, it must not be COVID. It cannot affect me. No, it's not true. That we go through every phase because we know from somewhere that it is something which may so happen. Anger, we all are going through anger. I think in one of the questions I have seen somebody has written that, why can't we concentrate? We cannot concentrate because there is a lot of things inside our mind at this point of time which are either not addressed or addressed in such a way which are not satisfactory to us. Every day there is a lot of bargaining. 2 weeks, I'll be fine. This much, I'll be fine. It is not going to be a difficult thing. It is going to be an easy affair. Things are going to be all right. And most importantly, we all are in a house, not meeting anybody, not able to connect with anyone, not doing what we are supposed to do, not going to the office. So if you go phase by phase, or if you go one step to other step, or one phase to another phase, we all are experiencing a loss of identity at this point of time. A mother who used to prepare breakfast and send their children to school is not doing so. A child who was attending school, having fun, dealing with the exams, difficult subjects, making friends, chit-chatting, are not doing so. People who were all the time working and doing something productive and getting appreciated are not doing so. Somewhere all this taken together is making us feel as if we are no productive. There is a change in the world. There would be no meaning to our existence. What will happen next? Whether we will be all right, whether we will be acceptable. Many of us also feel that by the time things will be better, probably we will lose our own productive mind. Probably we won't be able to. So there is a loss of confidence. There is a lot of loss of motivation. And of course, when there is no confidence, no motivation, there is a loss of pleasure. So you don't like many of the things. You are not ready to accept many things, and then you start juggling and struggling with your own thoughts that why am I doing it and why it is like so. All taken together is again a part of our stress. So if we go to the next slide, doing what matters in the time of stress. I think I would here again tell you a very small and a simple exercise. Suppose you are on a 50-storied building, and suddenly you get to realize that there is an earthquake. What would you do? What maximum of us would do? We would probably first panic, but I think most of us, what we would do is to come down through the stairs and wait till the things are over. Or very naturally we can say that when there is a storm outside, I'm sure none of us go out. We wait till the storm is over and then we go through it. Or then we go out of our houses just to see the effects. What happens when we are not grounding ourselves? This is what is called grounding. But unfortunately, when you start facing it and you are still trying to struggle with it, your body will react to it, your mind will react to it, and you'll have different difficulties. So I would not get surprised if any of you may think that, I am having difficulty in sleeping. I think I am putting a lot of weight. I'm not able to concentrate or focus on my studies or the things I used to do earlier. I think I've developed skin rashes. I have, allergy all the time. I have difficult bowel movements. These are all the response to how your body is reacting to the stress. Or maybe what you can say, very simply, you can say if there is something which is stuck in your body and you don't make any efforts to remove it, what will happen? You will eventually see that your that area where it is stuck is getting damaged, getting weak, and finally dying. So it's not only that you have to understand the stress, you also have to make sure that you are releasing the tension in such a way that it is managed well. So now you may all think that, it is natural to feel so. I mean, if I'm feeling that, these things are troubling me, where am I wrong? I'm absolutely right. I am 101% agreeing with you people that the way we are going, the way things are, it's not easy. It's not, it's not very, it's not absolutely a manageable moment for all of us. So what do we do first? As I said, number one is acknowledge it. Acknowledge that what are the major threats of your life. That is the reason, if you have a pen and paper handy, you can make a list of things which you think are, threats at this point of time. Suppose if I am a student, then at this point of time, my results, my exams, my percentage, my knowledge gain would be something which would bother me. Or my future, my settlement, that would bother me. So you need to first segregate these stressors. What is that which is giving you these nightmares? To manage your stresses, to face it. Unless until you identify and start facing it, it's not possible to manage your stress. In many of my workshops, people have asked me that we understand that we have to face it, but you think it's very easy? No, I'm 100% with you. It's not easy at all. When was it the last time you tried doing something which is new? Last 2 years, we didn't do anything which is new, then why not try now? How was your first day at school when you actually, wrote the first alphabet of English? And how is it now? There is a small keyword to this, which is called practice. Every planning can be successful if you practice it well. So identifying your stress and segregating with the manageable and unmanageable ones are very, very, very important, so that the moment you understand that, there are certain things in your life which may look like a stressor, but it can be managed by you, you will be a warrior who would face it in a wonderful way. Can we go to the next slide, ma'am? Here we talk about the powerful thoughts and feelings. So when we start segregating, these are the simple stresses, like, joining this webinar. It was a stress, getting into Google Meet and, connecting with people and delivering the speech. And then once you start doing it, you are comfortable and you can manage it. So this is group one, where I can manage my things. Group two, which consists of my future perspective, my career, and my development, my progress. There's certain things which I may not manage. Third subtype can be my relationships. I'm not meeting my boyfriend, I'm not meeting my loved ones, I'm just alone, I'm just at home, and I'm not able to go anywhere, I'm just locked. So, you must understand there are certain feelings and certain kind of thoughts which makes you feel terrible, which makes you feel choked most of the time. That's the reason psychologically we say that you are hooked. Now, if I have to give you an example of what do you mean by being hooked, is probably when you lock somebody and it's very difficult to unlock it. You go fishing, fishes are hooked. So something you cannot get away with, as it is rightly said in the screen. So it is like a trap. And what happens then? A thought comes in, you start thinking about it. Most of your reactions and responses to it are negative in nature. And then this negativity leads to a lot of vulnerability, and you start correlating with your lifestyle. And then once you start correlating, you start checking, you start believing, and finally you land up with that problem. I'll give you a very classic example. One evening you come back home and, you just have a sore throat. You wait for half an hour, you wait for 1 hour, and you feel uneasy. You start thinking that every time they spoke about the symptoms of COVID-19, the first symptom was a sore throat. Without any second thought, without any second, chance, you just start Googling. You just take tags, go through a lot of advices, conversations people have spoken about COVID-19 symptoms, and you start thinking, oh my God, everybody talks about that. I too have a sore throat. What do I do now? And before you actually feel the pain, your brain is trained to get the pain inside you, and you start feeling pain. Before it may get worse, you're again thinking that it is because it is one of the symptoms of COVID-19, the next phase is I am going to get fever. And for that, you would start worrying. For that, you would start, struggling, putting on the mask, getting isolated, and thinking of the worst situation. So these are all called thought-preceded behavior and actions, which are created and not happening in actuals, where I say that you get hooked. You can't come out of it. Suddenly, one fine day, somebody comes in or and tells you that, oh my God, you have a sore throat. Don't you remember that you had almost 4 ice creams that evening? And all your things are unlocked, unhooked, and unchained. And you remember, oh my God, it was so real. I just had simple ice cream, and for that reason, probably, I felt a sore throat, and I definitely do not have COVID-19. My only intention of talking to you regarding this is because our thoughts are very powerful, remember that. And all our thoughts can lead to our behavior accordingly. So if your thoughts are negative, if you have confused set of thoughts which will lead to lot of difficult feelings within you, and which will also regulate your behavior within yourself and the way you would behave with others. And eventually what happens, you go away from the actual person you are. You behave very unlikely. You react very unlikely. And people, not only you, but people around you start worrying about you. So, on a very simpler manner, when it comes to difficult thoughts, when it comes to difficult feelings, you just stay focused on one locked window. There are lots of unlocked windows which are nearby. And we start getting, we don't notice them. We start focusing on only one factor, which is rigid and which is difficult to manage. Ma'am, can we go to the next slide, please? As I just said, thoughts and feelings are difficult, and it can put you into difficult phases of life as well. For an example, if you The moment you think that today is going to be a wonderful day, I'm sure all of you must have experienced that eventually you will see that day is a wonderful day for you, because you've already planned and conditioned your mind to think so. What happens when we are not able to manage it? When we are totally hooked and we are not able to get out of it? It overlaps your own identity. Somebody who had different thoughts, somebody who were inspirational, somebody who was definitely a leader, somebody who was so positive, becomes shadowed or becomes underground some way or the other. So it takes you away from your values. It takes you away from what you are. So the second task would be, the moment you start identifying the stresses and you segregate them, that, the ones I can manage, the second ones which we cannot manage. The third one which you need to do is refocus and re-identify yourself. Because sometimes when you start thinking negatively, when you start reacting negatively, you need to knock your head back and say, this is not who I am. I'm sure none of us have the views of, getting into COVID ward, or dying soon, or thinking that the world is going to get over, or thinking that you're not going to progress and develop any day. There won't be any promotion. There won't be any, ladders up. I'm sure none of us think like that. I'm sure none of us have the value system which says that you are supposed to be aggressive, you're supposed to be irrational, you are supposed to be sad, you're supposed to be worrying all the time. So don't get yourself hooked with these negative thoughts, which can take you away from the deepest desires of yours. So I think the next task would be, you can write a journal to yourself thinking about what you really want to do in your life. If a negative thought can precede to a negative response in your life, an inspiration, an aspiration of, or a desire of going positive, doing something well and being kind may lead you to a better and a peaceful and a very transparent life in future. So given a chance, if you have to segregate, let us focus on the worlds, on the possibilities which are open to us, than the things which are not in our hand, things we cannot control. So very classically, I can say that at this point of time, though we are away from each other, though we are away from the best of our productivity, there is one thing which we are definitely enjoying, is being at home. Something we always missed in our life. There is one thing which we are definitely enjoying, is home cooked food, which we definitely missed in our hostels, in our cafeterias, and in our lives so far. There is something which you are definitely gaining here, is a lot of quality time, lot of family time, which we only used to hear, miss, and give examples that, someday I'll be at home and someday I'll do something, and that day would be a perfect day. I think this day is today. We need to stay in present. It's okay, there is a storm outside and we need to be underground. We need to be, shutting ourselves till the storm is over, because the storm is going to get over, and that is the time the things are going to be doubled for us. The work is going to be doubled and the things are going to be more difficult maybe. So identify, segregate the difficult and the easy ones, manage the easy ones well, prioritize the difficult ones, re-identify yourself, who are you and what you really want from life, and ask a simple question. If I really want to be nice, if I really want to be positive in my life, if I really have big dreams, big things to do in my life, what am I really thinking then? Why am I really thinking then? Is it logical? Is it true? And I'm sure our cognitive abilities are so strong that you definitely can see what is reality and what is away from reality. Ma'am, can we go to the next slide, please? Okay. This slide is all about few dangerous elements of life when you are actually thinking that, you are going away, or you are not behaving the way you are. For this, we always do a very simple exercise. Many of my people many of my patients, my clients have told me that all of a sudden I've become aggressive. I never used to be like this. I'm getting irritated nowadays. I don't get sleep. There was the smallest of things, and I suddenly got into a huge fight with my husband, and I really do not know how to apologize for that. Many of them say that, I used to be a wonderful person. I used to have a lot of friends around, and at this point of time, every person looks like a villain to me, and I don't want to get into that. Whenever you see that you are going away from your real self, I would want you to take a pause. I want you to understand that somewhere you are lacking preparation. Somewhere you need to again identify the problem. Somewhere you need to realize that you are not the person you are behaving like. And that is the time probably you need to open up the list of adjectives, list of positive adjectives in front of your laptop screens and pick up the best which you feel you are like. So, if this would have been a face-to-face interaction, I would have probably asked each one of the participants to take one adjective which may describe them as a person. So probably if just 5 of you can, unmute yourself and give me one adjective which is starting with the name, with the alphabet of your name, and which can describe you as a person. For an example, if I say that I'm Smaranika, and then sincerity is one adjective which describes me as a person, can I have 5 participants who would tell me, just give me 5 adjectives at this point of time?
Ma'am, smart.
The Shreyashi Chakravarti has said it's smart. Wow, great. Anybody else?
I'm Devasmita, and I think I'm diligent.
Okay, excellent. Is there anybody?
Hi ma'am, I'm Shohini. So I talk to people very softly, so I think that kind of thing.
Great.
So nice.
Ma'am, I'm Tina.
Hi, Tina.
Tina for trustworthy.
Trustworthy. So, was it? Do you think it was a very difficult task?
No, ma'am.
No, for me it wasn't.
No. I am sure for many of us it is not a difficult task at all, because we all love pampering ourselves. We all love the wonderful words which resembles us, which which can define us, which we can speak about ourselves. This is a small homework which you should do every day as a part of your stress management. Boosting yourself is the greatest motivator. Naming yourself, identifying your greatest strength is probably one of the best stress manager all of us can have, because that will give you a motivation, give you an inspiration that you are what you talk about. You are what you just spell about yourself. You are not the one who's behaving this way, and you are definitely doing it temporarily, and you need to find out the reason behind it. Because most of the time when you get hooked, you start believing that you are a negative person. It actually affects our belief system, and eventually a positive person may think otherwise. Ma'am, can we have the next slide, please? I think I already spoke about we unhook by refocusing, and I would just like to define the word called engaging. I'm sure all of us know what is engaging. This is engaging. You need to do something, you need to get occupied. So a unfocused mind or a hooked mind is most of the time occupied with negative thoughts, thoughts of insecurity, thoughts of anger, thoughts of instability, away from relationships, thoughts of confusion, suspicion, and aggression, and a lot of things which are unmanageable in life. But to unhook the system or unhook the situation, you need to get engaged. So the next step of stress management would be engaging and preoccupying yourself with something which can be learning, which can be training, which can be practicing, which can be entertainment, which can be information. A lot of things we can do in life, a lot of things we can learn at this point of time. An engaged mind is usually not hooked or hooked in a very productive manner. So if most of my patients, I always ask them, what is your daily routine? Why I said that getting engaged at this point of time is very important, because all of us have a similar and a monotonous kind of a lifestyle at this point of time. If you ask people, they just say that, what did you do since morning? And they'll say that, there's nothing much. I used to go to office at 8 o'clock and now I'm just at home. So I just need to, open up my laptop and start working. Trust me, sitting in front of a laptop and focusing on the screen for more than 9 to 12 hours in a day is not easy. Where you are not seeing anybody, probably you are just seeing some documents, and then at the same time you have social media, you have news channels, you have people around you who are influencing you, who are so we all are going through a very disturbed lifestyle. So I would suggest that when you talk about engaging, you need to have a very systematic routine for yourself. I call this routine as the 3R system. So the number 1 R is the routine. Create yourself a routine. Number 2 R is relationship. This is the time we need to work on the relationship. Number 3 R is being resilient. And being resilient is a practice. Remember that. So the more you practice, the more confident you can become. The more you practice, the more manageable you will become. Ma'am, can we go to the next slide, please? Okay. So I'm sure this question was supposed to come, and that's the reason I put it in the screen for all of you, is, when I say that, I did this, I did that, and, so and so forth. And when we talk about, managing, I'm sure if I'm telling you that, you should go for an exercise pattern, you should, sleep for 8 hours in a day, and you should have healthy meals. Please avoid, COVID news around you, and please do not focus on negativity around you. And you will think that, this is all we keep on hearing from here and there, and this is on the Google, this is on the news, this is on every motivational speech. I think all of us have a support system. So this is the best secret about a stress management. Imagine a day when you had the most difficult ones, and how did you manage it? So this is the time you need to go back to the past and think, how did you manage the most difficult day of your life? And all of you have an answer to it. Somebody, listens to music and they're fine. Somebody prepares food and they are good. Somebody watches Kapil Sharma on the TV screen and they're good. Somebody listens to Bhagavad Gita or a meditational music and they're fine. Everybody has their own self-healing tool, which we used to do someday, and now we are not doing, thinking that our life has become more busy. We are more into productive work, and these are something which is just, killing my days and killing my time, so there's no use. I'm sure all of you have something which was a part of your hobby, which you loved doing. So when I say that, don't think that, to get rid of it, I need to just throw it off. face it, at the same time do something which makes you happy. So you need to have a balance. You need to, if you are going through a difficult time, first of all acknowledge and accept it, and to manage the difficult feeling, have a wonderful feeling it is. So there was a saying that it is always difficult to remove the makeup than redoing and retouching on the old ones. I would always want to remake and retouch the whole thing than making a new one. So if you think that cleaning your tears are easy, no, it's not easy. But retouching your I do is something which is easy and which is practically possible. So we should go into that manner. So if you just scroll down the slide, little down, it is called refocusing, and it is called renaming again, and identifying each one of it, which is which is giving you this kind of a stress. So technically they say that refocus, get yourself engaged, and pay full attention. When I say pay full attention, I think all of you being adults here, and what is full attention means. But then most of the time what happens is that we do not focus on things which are important. Rather, we take so many things together and we think that, why am I not able to manage? So there is a small cup of story which says that, my glass is already full and I'm trying to pour in more milk into it. Is it possible? The more I will pour, it will go overlapping, it will overflow. However, to have the new element in my glass of milk, I need to release the old ones first. So you need to make vents, you need to make channels through which the old ones will go down and the new feelings will come in. Trust me, brain do not have a filter to decide which is a good one, which is a bad one. Brain takes it all. Our cognitive abilities, our cognitive capacity is such that you can train your brain, train your thought process to be positive, to go ahead in life, and you can train your brain to go back and stay fixed and stay rigid and don't do anything at all. Ma'am, can we have the next slide, please? Okay, this we already have discussed that, you need to describe on the values, the kind of person you are, and then have a goal towards yourself and others. Because when you know that, this is what I want to be, like somebody said that, I talk to somebody very softly, I am a very trustworthy person. So this is what you are. And what does a trustworthy person do? What do you mean by, how do you describe being soft with people who have a lot of kindness? So you not only develop as a person, you develop for a society as well. People see more of you than something which is not like you or not for you. Ma'am, the next slide, please. Yeah. So the anxiety part. At this point of time, we all are also going through this. I mean, you need to first understand that we are into social isolation, okay, social distancing. But if you actually see, is it really difficult to manage social isolation? Even if we are far away from each other, I think we can still connect. We have wonderful media, wonderful platforms where we can have the meetings together, we can see each other's face, we can talk to each other, exchange mails, exchange letters and writings to each other, which we missed long back. I think during this 2 years of pandemic, I have seen more of celebrations happening in the social media than any other time. I think people celebrated their anniversaries with all their relatives together. People celebrated their birthdays with all the people in the world taken together. They explained, they expressed their views and their feelings through social media, which was not there because that time was too short and probably we never had time. This time time is too long, and we think that these are certain things which we can do to engage ourselves in a better way. When I talk about facts and not the rumors, what I meant is that I think you should limit your information about the difficulties we are going through. It's not really necessary to know about what is happening in the era of COVID. In fact, today's newspaper says that there are lakhs and lakhs of people are already vaccinated, and the tagline for this particular news is that India fights back. I think it is absolutely brilliant. People should focus on the facts which can be pleasurable, which is better to hear and pleasing to know, rather than focusing on things about how many deaths, what are the isolation beds, what is this ratio, when is the third wave coming. Stay away from all that. If you have difficulties, if you have problems, if you have questions, please ask a trustworthy person, a reliable person, an appropriate person who can answer this well. Number 3, and very important, focus on things you can control. When I say that focus on things which you can control I'll give you a very typical example for that is when I wear a mask, probably working in the COVID wards, in the hospitals, 365 days, and now probably this is the second year. All I knew is that I have to wear a PPE, I have to wear a mask, and I have to take proper precautions, wash my hands, maintain social distancing, and then treat my patients, see my patients, and come back home safe. That is what I focused, rather than thinking that, why my neighbor is not wearing a mask, why they are still partying, because this is something which you cannot control. So it is absolutely advisable that you should focus on the things which you can control, which will give you a better feeling, which will give you more satisfaction. Number 4 is handling emotional problems. When we talk about emotional problems, I think whenever we talk about anger, when we talk about irritation, when we talk about displeasure, we say that this is something which needs to be avoidable. But I disagree. I completely disagree with that. Because when you're a human, all these taken together makes you human. You have more than 21 type of traits or emotions which we go through. So if you can handle happiness, love, pleasure, leisure wonderfully, you should learn to handle your anger. You should accept it, that it is okay not to be okay. It is okay to be aggressive. It is okay to vent out. What you need to focus is that, once I went out, before I went out, I should know why am I doing it. And if at all I want to vent out, there has to be a proper channel. Like you said, if there is a hot bowl and you want to really hold it, and if you want to pour hot coffee in your cup, in that case, you need to have a proper, handle, proper way of holding it, so that you pour it in such a way that it doesn't burn your hand otherwise. What is not advisable? Late nights, not advisable. Thinking that I have nothing to do in life and what would I do? Let me get into some kind of a series and let me stay awake till 2 o'clock. And life has become so monotonous, boring, and I've become worthless. Self-rejecting comments, feelings, factors, not advisable. Oh, if there is nothing to do, let me grab a glass of beer and sit. If you are having alcohol for enjoyment, I'm on. If you're having alcohol because you are bored and you do not know what to do about it, you want to get rid of, stay away from reality, not advisable. If you are into smoking and thinking that smoking can release my stress and tension and all that, and you are getting into a smoking habit, not advisable. Why? Because you are indirectly getting yourself addicted to a wrong method of managing things. So that's not advisable. Skipping your meal, thinking that, sitting at home, I'm putting on a lot of weight, so I should do my own things. become surgical to myself and, self-advisors and not advisable. Hoping for bad future ahead, not advisable. Stay in the present, please. History has given us a new lesson that if you are conscious, if you are alert, and if you follow the protocols well, you are going to fight it back. So getting into words, jumping into conclusion, making decisions on your own, not advisable. Then plan what you can do. There are many things we can do. Can we have a good, wonderful, peaceful meditation time for 10 minutes, 15 minutes every day? We can. Can we read a wonderful book? We can. Can we learn how to cook something new? We can. Can we make a roadmap of my future and think what are the other skills I would love to gain because I'm not very occupied at this point of time? You can do. Can we avoid switching off the TV when this COVID news is happening? Can do. And stay connected. Please understand the fact that connection, relationships are not about physically meeting somebody or seeing somebody every day. There are wonderful relationships in this world who actually have never met. If I have to give you a classic example, the character in your favorite story and with whom you develop your relationship is somebody with whom you have never met physically. But you have heard about it, you have learned about him, you have read about him, and that's how you create a relationship. Your favorite hero, your favorite character, your favorite storyteller is somebody you have never met physically. But they definitely have a role in your life. So the more you focus that, we are physically distant, you are going away from that emotional connectivity which we have, emotional dependency or emotional relationship which we are developing at this point of time. Ma'am, can we have the next slide, please? Okay. This is a little, not exactly what we spoke about today, but yes, because I'm seeing a lot of post-COVID patients, going back home and, worrying about their recovery and thinking that, losing confidence and thinking that, I'm not able to, I will not be able to cope up with the normal life. I will never be able to breathe. I always have a simple story for them saying that, a machine cannot run our future. There was time when we definitely had breathlessness, when we ran for more than required, when we played like a kid in the fields and we just felt restless. That time there were no oximeter who said that, you are lacking oxygen somewhere. We thought that, taking deep breath, taking a pause, having a lot of water will help, and it helped. You can traditionally shut yourself down. That's what we call a self-support system or a group wherein you can vent out the sorrows, the difficulties, and shut down and cry, take a time out, feel sorry for people you've missed in your life, write a letter for those who have left you in a very unfortunate manner. Fuel your body and your mind with healthy food. Please do not skip your meal. Please do not think that we are at home so we can have food wherever you want, whenever we want. Our life has gone into a lockdown phase, but our mechanism, our physical structure, our body mechanisms have not gone to a lockdown period. It has to function well. So you have to keep, fueling your body and mind in a similar manner so that they function very well. As I already said, find ways to connect socially, find ways to ease out your stress and stay home as much as possible. I would like to focus on the word called stay home, because this is probably one word called home which we missed all our life. So this is the time probably you take as much as you can, because tomorrow is going to be a busy life. tomorrow is going to be more occupied and you are definitely going to be away from your home. Ma'am, can we have the next slide, please? Yeah. So, we spoke about it finally, but the last sentence which I really want to focus is that don't feel extraordinarily difficult. Don't feel that you are going through a lot of trouble yourself or what is happening to you. There is a simple meaning to it. Our life has, lifestyle has become difficult. Things are working not the way we always wanted. This is new. This is not which we thought was normal. This is the new normal. So accepting it, understanding it, practicing it will take some time. In the process of doing all this, you may feel difficult, you may feel restless, you may have confused questions, irritation within you, but the meaning is this is temporary and this is going to go away. This is going to pass and you are going to have a better life. We can quickly go to I think this is my last slide, and please, the last sentence of my slide says that, emotion needs motion, because whenever you feel good, it is wise to express it. At the same time, whenever you feel bad, don't hesitate to express it as well, because if you are a living organism or being a human being, you need to speak out what you go through. Because sometimes it may so happen that, something which is easy for you may be difficult for me and vice versa. So if you send me or if you share your things with me, I may give you a better solution because I must have gone through that phase now. So let your emotions flow, let things go in such a way that you do it in a better, you can manage your things in a wonderful manner. May I ask Ms. Tripathi to go through the questions one so that I can answer them one after another, and if people have any questions, they can ask me as well.
Yes, here. Okay, the first question is stress not being able to concentrate.
So as I said, you need to first, because when you do multiple things together, when you are packed or hooked with a lot of thoughts, it's very difficult for a person to concentrate on one particular thing. So the first task which I gave you is that, you need to first segregate what are the stresses, what are the things which are in your mind. Try to empty your mind at first, and then try to prioritize which one you would want to address, so that you would know that, one after another, things are getting simplified. That could be one strategy which you should follow. Second, not concentrating and not focusing could be that you are not taking enough care for yourself. You can go for 10 to 20 minutes of meditation every day. Sleep at least 8 hours a day, and there is no late nights. Eat proper meal. Have 2 to 3 liters of water. Go for a small walk, just 40 minutes of walk or 30 minutes of walk, so that your mind and body is at sync. Maybe you can make a to-do list to address to things one after another, so that the power of concentration and the technique or the strategy to concentrate well may help you. So you can try these first, and if still you feel that you are not able to concentrate, then in that case I need to see you.
Okay. The next question is how to handle excessive, unwanted, futuristic thoughts on what we don't have any control, and also how to control mood swings and unnecessary anger, and how to live in the present and enjoy the moment to the fullest.
The first one I think I have already addressed, that, rather than focusing on what you can do, it is better to focus on what you can do. These thoughts are, our thought process is like a ocean, like an ocean. It just flows. It's like the clouds. So you have to pick and choose. It will come and go. You cannot really say that, every time you will have a positive thought process, a wanted thought process. If your gate is open, there would be a lot of thought processes which are unwanted. You need to think that which one I want to keep, which one I want to bin. that prioritization, that selection you need to do. You need to understand, okay, these are certain things which are unnecessary. Number two, what you need to segregate is something which is realistic. There could be like a lot of thought processes or thoughts or feelings which you may get, which others are not getting, or which others are getting. So there are certain things which are common for all of us. So don't feel extraordinary that why are you feeling it? It's common for all of us. If it is not common, then you ask yourself, is it for real or it is created? For an example, if I have to say that, I will get COVID tomorrow, is it real or is it something which I'm creating? So you can only, cross the river when you reach the river. So before that, if you are thinking of crossing, then you are probably trying to overseed and, speed your brain mechanism and then think that things are going to be easy. So live at the present, come to the reality, think that these thought processes are realistic or unrealistic. Is it really going to happen? And if it is going to happen, what is that which I need to know or which I need to do, which will help me doing that? And the second question which you asked me is anger, right?
Yes.
How to manage.
Yes.
So let's see, we have a whiteboard and we write this word called anger, and we take out branches. How am I reacting to my anger? I'm shouting, I'm fighting, I'm blah blah blah, whatever. Then let's ask people, or let's think of people who we think are good anger managers. Or let's do a small introspection thinking that what I should ideally do. Because for us, there is something called a real person, that is you, and there is something which is your idealistic version. There is an ideal person in you as well. Ask your ideal person, given a chance, how would you want to react or respond to your anger? I think all of us would think that I would probably want to first calm down. I would probably want to think and analyze the situation. I would want to understand the possible solutions. I would choose the best possible solution and then respond. So if that is what you really want to do, you will have to start practicing it likewise. And make it, trained and condition yourself that at any point of time, if there is a trigger which results in anger, this is what my ideal self tells me that I need to first analyze, take a pause. Very traditionally, they say that, counting 1 to 10 and 10 to 1 is something which is going to help, and you can all do that. And the moment you start practicing once, twice, thrice, you would automatically see that, your way of approaching or your way of responding to anger has definitely changed and you've become better. So you need to practice it. How would you ideally want to respond to your anger response if there is a trigger? Because triggers we cannot control. It will happen. Environment will always give you, reasons to get angry. But you need to understand what emotions I would choose to respond to my aggressive feeling. I would remain silent. I would think about it. I would think about possible responses. And then I would react. Try it once.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, I'm filtering out certain questions because they are common. So I'll move on to the ones which look a little bit different to me, though I don't know, ma'am would think they are the same. But anyhow, I'll just, the next question that I see here is how to overcome the fear of losing close ones.
As I said, let's stay in present. At this point of time, we have not lost anybody. Present is that you are with your loved ones and you have a great deal of time with them. So creating memory is now. When it comes to losing, nothing in our life which will not come to an end. Everybody has to go. Everybody will lose somebody, and we are definitely going to lose each one of us, right? So that is something which is reality. Acceptance is the first stage of managing your own emotions. Number 2 is presenting or creating memory with your loved ones, acknowledging, being with them, understanding each other, sharing, caring, loving is something which you should do. Third and most important, what you would need in your difficult times of your loved ones is the kindness and the courage to manage them. So if you start developing that confidence, you would not be fearful, because losing someone is inevitable, right? We can't help it. But before that, which is reality, is that they are still with you and you can still have a lot of time and a lot of things. Haven't we lost the first toy your parents bought for you when you were a child? So I think physical presence, more than physical presence, it is their memories, their belief system, the things we learn from them are important and which stays with us. So I no wonder if I say that, there are people who have left wonderful, remarkable advices with us, and they probably are not physically with us, but they will remain all in our life because of what they have given us and which we reflect in our day-to-day activities.
Okay, ma'am. The next question is how to boost confidence and concentration, and how to stop overthinking and focus on work.
Boosting confidence is knowing yourself well. I think confidence is nothing but being transparent to yourself. You can be a liar and you can be a confident liar yourself. So I think we need to first introspect and stand in front of a mirror and see what you see there. See your reflection and see how you want to see yourself. And then that is going to help you boost confidence within you. If you know yourself well, that you are Devashmita or you are Smaranika, and this is what you should look like, and this is what you have. That's what is called confidence. Confidence do not have any parameters. It's about how much you know about your, how much you reflect.
Deepa, could you please mute your microphone? Okay. Okay, I guess there's a problem. Anyhow, okay, the next question is how can a person cope with the stress of losing a job in the current situation?
A job comes to our life with skills, isn't it? Without skill, you are without job. But the best part is your job may go, but your skills would not go. As long as you are intact with your skills, as long as you are gaining knowledge, as long as you are training yourself and you are upgrading and updating yourself, you should not fear of losing your job. Because traditionally, if you say that everybody in this world of professionals and personals have their own role to play, they may not need you at this point of time, but they would definitely need your skills someday or the other. And somewhere, I think, there won't be any difficulty losing or getting jobs later on, because things are going to be, probably more advanced and more demanding post this pandemic than what we think. Because definitely we would need more of manpower to get back to, because we are led back with 2 years already. So I think we are going to get back with more manpower. And losing can be a term which you would, it is as good as changing your job, I think that is something we need to think. Skills you will never lose. Skills will only give you better perspectives of life. So don't worry about that. Keep yourself upgrading. Keep your skillfulness intact.
Okay, ma'am. The next question is, do diet and exercise play a role in stress and anxiety management? If so, how?
Absolutely, yes. Because there is definitely a role of hormonal balances in our life, and the secretion of dopamine plays in the feeling of pleasure and loved in our life, which can be stimulated and which can be activated through exercises and proper diet plan. Why I said proper diet plan is because when you are feeding your body, well advanced or a well mannered way, your body is going to feed your mind. it is a healthy body will always develop a healthy mindset, and through which you can be more energetic towards your work and day-to-day activity. And as I said, exercises will increase the secretion of dopamine inside your body, which will give you a pleasure principle. So you automatically feel happy from within, you feel better from within. So I would definitely say that, whenever there is in the process of rehabilitation, we always say that it is not only your thought, it is your physical life, or it is your physical health, which you also need to look at if you want to stay healthy both physically and mentally. So if you are not into any exercise pattern or a routine, please start today. If you are neglecting your food habits, or if you have a very erratic, fueling your body is very important. It's as good as watering your plant every day and regularly, and not watering your plant, and then you see the results yourself.
Thank you, ma'am. I think that is it from the questions. I mean, this is all we have. So if you would like to add on to something, and otherwise we can end.
I think I really had a wonderful time speaking about this, and
Ma'am?
I hope yes.
Ma'am,
Probably
can
there's
I
another
ask
question.
something?
Yes, please.
Ma'am, when someone asked her, ma'am, how to concentrate, it said first we need to empty our mind. So how can we do that? How can we calm our mind?
Emptying your mind is basically writing journal. Write it out, vent it out, write what you go through, write about your feelings. You have a trustworthy person or a dependable person in your family or within your friends. Talk to them. Whatever you are going through, you must first write it down, because when you start writing and then you read it out, you would see that most of the things are simple, because that time you become a third person. Probably I would say that when I speak about my own problems, it may look lot to me, but the same problem somebody else will tell me, and I'll see, it's so easy to solve. Do it this way, do it that way. Because what happens when you start representing your problems, when you start writing, or you become vocal about it, you develop a confidence that you have a capacity to solve it, and you read it and you see it as a third person. What do you usually do in a counseling program? When you go to a counselor, you basically vent out your things, you talk it out. You take the help of talk therapy, and your counselor plays the role of a third eye. It shows you, she can show you angles, or she can show you versions which you are not aware of. And probably you have missed out. As I said, you are hooked. And that writing or that venting out will help you unhook yourself and see that, oh my God, this is so very easy. Or this is something which I should have done long back, and why I didn't do it then.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Ma'am, can I ask something?
Yes, please. Priyanka.
Ma'am, recently I read somewhere about that post-traumatic stress disorder. So, ma'am, can you please say what shall we do to overcome from this?
See, I'll give you a very simple example. Let's say you're riding a bicycle. Okay? You don't know how to ride a bicycle. You are a new learner. And then while doing it, while riding, you fell down. Okay. And you've got wounds. Chot lag gaya aapko. You've got hurt. And, probably for next 15 days, the moment you'll touch that area, you feel the pain. But after 15 years, do you still feel the pain?
No.
So it is about the trauma, because usually what happens is that our mind there are certain things in our life for which we are not prepared. Those things comes as a trauma to us, something which is shocking, which is something which we do not expect, and it comes to you. So body and mind takes its own time to accept and adapt it. In the interval, in that phase of accepting and adapting the difficult part or the difficult phase, we feel the trauma inside, and we feel restless, we have sleeplessness, we have irritation, we have anger. But the moment you start accepting that, this is reality and I have to cope up with that, and things are going to be all right, you gain confidence, you gain positivity, those traumas do not stay as trauma within you anymore. They slowly went out, they slowly ease you out, and you start understanding that this is how life would be. Like, first time, like first year when COVID came to India, things were different. Second time, I think people adopted the culture of wearing a mask and maintaining social distancing, staying at home and be very alert. So the first time, which was traumatic, second time it was not traumatic at all. Now also people have oximeter at home and they have oxygen concentrators at home. They're well prepared. So, sometimes life makes its own, mind makes its own preparedness, creates its own zona where adaptability becomes easier. So that's what is called, post-trauma, and slowly it goes out because you learn how to accept it, you learn how to manage it, and you learn how to overcome as well because it's no more unfamiliar to you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am, may I ask a question, please?
Yes, please.
Okay. On behalf of my students, I just want to ask one thing. Our students are on the doorstep of making their future, so they have to face more competition ahead. And actual struggle just have to begin. So how can they enhance more positive attitude within them?
See, I think each one of them are unique. That is the strongest point they have. Competition happens in equals. I believe that. If you yourself is a brand and there is nobody like you, then there is no competition, right? So what you need to compete is with your negative instinct, with your weaknesses, and that is the time you need to create that balance of boosting your positive energy and talking about what you are good at and developing things which are part of your strengths. So whenever there is, expansion in our life, when you go from a small, circle to a bigger circle, first what you need to know is to understand how big the circle is. Number 2 is to accept that in this bigger circle, there is going to be a lot of variations. Number 3 is to know that, in these variations, there would be lot of things which will be not the way we want it. So there has to be difference of opinion, there will be conflicts, there will be difficulties, they would take some time to adjust. The 4th would be learn the new skills and start practicing. Because when you are going from a small loop to a bigger one, the most advantage or the most beneficial part is that you are going to learn better and you are going to learn more, because the world is all about differences. The world is all about dealing with different things at one go. So every step ahead, they should take it as a learning experience. Before reacting or rejecting it, they should actually understand it well. And then they can segregate what they can do and what they have to reject.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am, I have some question.
Yes, tell me please.
Ma'am, actually I want to ask about social anxiety. Actually, I don't want to diagnose it, but I have some symptoms. Like whenever I try to interact with someone new, my body reacts very badly. My hands start to sweat and I start trembling. How can I manage it? Is it manageable?
Have you tried managing it or you have always avoided it?
Actually, whenever I have felt it, whenever I have tried to interact with someone and it happens each and every time, and I literally shut myself down for about 1 or 2 weeks, and then I go again and start to do it, and then it happens continuously. So there is no progress at all.
A fear will always remain a fear if you start supporting your fear. But if you start facing it, your fear will not remain. Let me tell you one thing, Ipshita, is that you have social anxiety. You are lucky that you already know that you have social anxiety. All of us have some kind of an anxiety, and many of us accept it, and most of us do not accept it. And it is okay if you have difficulty initiating a conversation. That is not a degree, and that is not something which is going to affect you or your life in future. There are wonderful persons in life who are absolutely successful and who have very, very difficult communication skills. So if you just take your type as not your weakness, but this is a type you do, and start facing it more and more and more, this problem will not remain a problem anymore. First instance, you may have difficulty. Second instance, you may have little difficulty. And third, fourth, fifth, with time, you will overcome it. And don't worry if you think that the other person must be thinking, who is perfect in this world? As long as you're able to communicate, maybe it is an interval, or maybe it has certain physical, movements associated with it. But I think all of us have difficulties in life, isn't it?
Yes,
so
ma'am.
rather taking it as one of your inabilities, you should take it as a training process and start practicing about it. Initiate, talk, communicate more with your friends, with your people, read more books, interact more, watch more interactive series or interactive channels where you have a chance of, start in a comfort zone and then go to a difficult one. It's something like a mock testing, you see. So start with a smaller group and then go to a larger group, and accept it that it's not a problem. It will only become a problem when you think that, oh, I have this, so what will others think? Others will not even notice it. Trust me, most of these social anxiety issues, people do not notice it unless until you yourself declare that I have a social anxiety issue. People actually think this is your style.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am,
Oh,
ma'am,
yes, please.
can I ask?
Yes, please.
Ma'am, I'm suffering from PCOD since 3 years and suffer mood swings, and it changes minute to minute. Sometimes I can't share my feelings to loved ones, but I want to do. I feel restriction beside me, but there is no restriction. That's possessiveness. I know, but I can't express.
Are you under any medication at this point of time? I've read this question. I think this question came to me, but I just wanted to know your clinical, diagnosis. Are you under any medication?
Yes, ma'am. Before 6 months, I am not under any medication. I want to control this in natural ways. So when I take oral contraceptive pills for PCOD, so the mood swings are lot of, and these times the natural things can't help me a lot.
See, I'll tell you one thing, Bipasha. What you need to do is, I would suggest that you review this with one of your gynecologists first. Review the medicines, okay? In most of the PCODs are also related to your hormonal imbalances, and which can be one of the factors you are going through a lot of mood swings. So we first need to check the clinical aspect of it. Clinical diagnosis here is important. Number two is that the medicines you are in, whether this drug is inducing mood swings in you or not, and if at all it is, then we have to give you a mood stabilizer. The third one, which you say that I want to cure it naturally, how it happens is that in the process, when you think that your effects or the side effects are more frequent, then we first use a pharmacological therapy, which means giving medicines, and side by side we go for psychotherapy. The moment we think that the patient has started gaining control, Then we slowly reduce the medicine part, and then we just ask them to go for, exposure therapies, CBTs, and so that the mood cycle can be controlled. Third, which I would want to know, is your physical health. I mean, your exercise, your routines, what do you do usually? I mean, do you have a health pattern, health regime for yourself, exercises and then yoga or, fruits? What do you do?
Yeah, ma'am. I do exercise, yoga every day. And eat fruits, vegetables, lots of.
Okay. Then also you think, is there anything which which gives you pleasure and which you are very happy with when you're doing?
My hobbies like drawing, but in these mood swings আমার সেটা করতেও ইচ্ছা করছে না।
আচ্ছা, so basically Bipasha, one thing that I would really like to see you one-on-one, because you would probably need a session of CBT or DBT, which is directive behavior therapy, so that we can create a routine for you. This has to be channelized. So first I would say that you see your gynecologist, check, review on the medicines which you are taking, check on the probability of mood swings as a reaction of these medicines or not. Also, if she recommends any kind of a test for you, do that. Get the routine checkup done first. Then probably you get back to me. I have my details with Debashmita ma'am, and then I will let you know how we can solve it out.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, I think we have exceeded the time, and I'm sure all of you have more and more questions, but our speaker here, we don't want to delay her further. So that's why I would like to thank her for this wonderful talk and this wonderful session. Ma'am, it was really thought-provoking, and you have jerked my mind to go and start thinking. I will definitely do the homeworks, and I feel a lot positive. So now I would like to request Dr. Shubhalakshmi Ganguly, HOD Department of Zoology, to kindly give the vote of thanks.
Thank you. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you, Debashmita, for giving me the opportunity to propose a vote of thanks. Well, I'm not very good at saying things very formally. Sometimes informal 1-2 sentences do come from my mind. So I will speak my mind rather, as I thank everyone who joined the program. See, as teachers, my colleagues will also believe this. We also counsel our students, for example, in academic matters, how to improve the scores or not get stressed during examinations, or in making career choices, etc. But from last year, particularly when this pandemic situation, and we were all forced to observe these lockdown rules, I think this was really unheard of before. We were all unprepared, both as teachers and the student community. We all suffered, maybe at different level, at a different degree was different at individual level, but we all of us, we have suffered from stress and anxiety, particularly this period. So it is because of that, both the departments, we thought that no, we must seek the help, or we must listen to someone who is a professional psychologist, right? So thankfully, I think Swaranika madam, I must thank you so much that you have such a wide experience of working with students and teachers and people from other profession as well, and you have accepted our invitation without any delay.
It is my pleasure, ma'am.
Okay, we are so happy for that, and you have shared your valuable experience and given us so much of time today. And see, I think that all our students, as you can see from their questions that were coming up, they were very attentive, and they have listened to you, and I hope all these students will students as well as teachers will follow the valuable tips that you have given us, which will alleviate this feeling of distress, and it will help us resolve the crisis. And further, I would say that you have made the session very lively and interactive. That is a very I enjoyed it very much, and you have patiently addressed all the problems that were sent to us as Debashmita was reading out, and also you have taken questions live from here, and you have each and every question you have addressed with so much of patience, and you have tried to analyze them from different perspectives. So, madam, overall, I hope this association will not end today after this program. It will continue in future.
Absolutely.
Yes, it will continue in future also. So, thank you so much. And next, I feel that I'm thankful to our administrator, sir. I don't know, maybe for some reason he couldn't be with us today. So I thank Khara sir, Dr. T.K. Khara, because I have seen that if there is a foolproof plan of doing something, and we have done our work very meticulously, and if it is presented to him, and he always gives a positive nod. So I'm very thankful to him. I thank principal of our college and also the non-teaching staffs for being with us. Well, and I thank my fellow teachers and who have joined the program, and I tell you this, whenever we post this kind of notification in the groups, positive thumbs up and kind words that comes, that in fact this fuels us to undertake such more and more programs. And so thank you so much. I thank also TCS for joining our program. I thank IQSC because every program that any department, it comes under the purview of the IQSC. Then I come to my Department of Zoology. I must say that the two Ds, D means the capital letter D, they are the two best dimensions of the Department of Zoology. That is two Debashmitas. One, Dr. Debashmita Tripathi, she has entirely designed the program and has executed it wonderfully. And the another D is Debashmita Roy. Without her help, technologically, she is brilliant, and without her help, today's program would not be possible. So these two Ds are great assets for the Department of Zoology, I must say, and they, including Mr. Arun Kumar Chakraborty, he has also joined in. I guess he is here. So all these people, along with I must thank Dr. Anindita Mojumdar and Shourabi Bordhon of Department of Environmental Science. We, madam, I must tell you, and whoever is present, we work as a team. And these team members are so positive, energetic, and they are nice people. And their energy, their inclination to work harder, they help to reduce my stress to a great extent. So I'm very, very thankful to them. And lastly, I thank my students, because students try to realize all our endeavors. It's all because of your benefit. It is for your benefit. If you people get benefited out of this program, so we feel happy and we feel very content. So thank you so much. Over to you, Debashmita.
Thank you, Dee. And I thank everyone again already with an elaborate vote of thanks. I don't have much to say, but I would like to thank our speaker again for sparing this time for us. Thank you, ma'am. And I thank you all for the success of this seminar. And I sure think it is a success. So with this, we would like to end the webinar here. And thank you all. Stay safe, stay happy, and be positive. Thank you.